in terms of price, I would say that threshold's probably somewhere at I don't know, maybe 500,000 per Bitcoin, maybe 400,000 Bitcoin, somewhere there is where we start becoming the second largest asset class on the planet. And people can kind of directly compare gold at the top with what is it, 20, 20 trillion, and Bitcoin with, half of that. And I think at that point you start to demonetize gold because, you have this new thing that is surpassing that 1,000-year monetary technology in 16, 17, 18 years. I don't think there's another thing you can do. Like the era of making new fiat is over. What you've got right now is it. And when this dies, it's over. Because Bitcoin is superior, like in every way, even to gold.
Bitcoin is no longer just a concept, it's here and reshaping global wealth at an unprecedented pace. According to Samson Mow, Bitcoin is on a collision course with $400,000 to $500,000, set to challenge gold's $20 trillion dominance as a store of value. A decentralized currency born in 2009 is now taking on centuries of monetary tradition, heralding not just change but a financial revolution as fiat currencies lose trust due to overprinting and manipulation. This shift is not only financial but deeply philosophical. Bitcoin represents a better system, finite, transparent, and beyond control. Capital is flowing into it, not just as an investment but as a means to escape inflation and outdated economic systems. This movement marks the largest wealth transfer in modern history, though many won't notice until it's too late. The debate over Bitcoin's relevance is over. The question now is how soon the world will fully embrace it. Will you be ready for this paradigm shift, or will you struggle to keep up? Samson Mow's interview offers key insights into this transformative moment. Before we continue with the rest of the video, do check out daily 5-minute crypto newsletter with all the latest crypto and Bitcoin news. It's a fantastic analysis of on-chain crypto data and breakdowns, and the best part is it's absolutely free. They'll cover expert predictions, breakdowns of on-chain crypto data, and any breaking news you need to know, all in a nutshell. Click the first link in the description and enter your email to join over 50,000 others in becoming a better crypto investor right now.
The US is seemingly on a track to recovery from financial mismanagement, let's say. I don't see the same happening in Europe and other places. They're all sort of in denial, but at least the Trump admin has sort of recognized the problem. That's why they're trying to stop the death spiral. That's why they've implemented the Department of Government Efficiency. This is why they're trying to lower the 10-year rates. We realize that the debt is unsustainable, inflation is a symptom, and something has to be done. And they're trying these other things, but Bitcoin is the only solution that will fix these things. So, yeah, to answer your question, yeah, it's a bit surprising the US was the next big one. I thought we'd have another big country, and that's kind of what we've been trying to accomplish at Jan 3. But what we've encountered is just everyone wants to wait for the US. And there's just a lot of fear of career risk. And with this shift in the US landscape, I think there is no more career risk. And that alleviation of the fear about doing something with Bitcoin, it just hasn't made its way around the world yet. Many Bitcoiners were expecting, like, we're going to get an Omega candle right now with the EO. But I think you need some massive change before that is going to happen, like retail coming in or normal people understanding Bitcoin and or even just the action of buying either from the US or other countries. And that hasn't happened yet. The EO is just sort of news and it's not well understood. And the impact is not well understood. So yes, the adoption of Bitcoin in the US is a direct threat. And it's not even about Bitcoin at this point. Like the US is also looking to push stablecoins in a big way. And it looks like, Tether is going to be a part of that. So what does that mean for Europe? I think they should be far more concerned about stablecoins because the barrier to understand a stablecoin is far lower than Bitcoin. So imagine you can go to any merchant with your self-custodial wallet, pay the merchant in a stablecoin, and that's fully outside of their control. Like they can't really police that. Maybe they'll try. They'll go more draconian, more authoritarian, but it won't work. And the CBDC won't work either. So yeah, I'm just not sure what's happening in Europe now, but it doesn't look good for sure. Yeah, so the Omega candle is a 100K candle, and a God candle, or also called a Godzilla candle, is a 10K candle. But the Omega candle, it should be green, but it might be red. Like the one of the first God candles, I think, was a red God candle, like 10K down. But it just goes to show that the Bitcoin price movements are becoming bigger and bigger, and people are not always aware of these movements. But I still see people poking at me and saying, "Hey, where's your God candle that you've been talking about?" And my reaction is like, "Go look at the chart. There have been like 8 or 9 of them so far." But people aren't really aware, and they're not going to be aware of the Omega candle too. Maybe they will. Who knows? But like the indication is that if we're seeing God candles regularly, 10K daily movements, it's probably going to bring us to a 100K daily movement relatively soon. And 100K is just, 10x. Bitcoin has done 17x in the past with a totally different macroeconomic landscape than today. Like zero Bitcoin national adoption, no strategic Bitcoin reserves, no talk about issuing Bitcoin bonds, and no talk about buying a million Bitcoin from the US. So it's completely within the realm of possibility that you get a 100K candle soon, maybe this year. So I think that the biggest thing is the Omega candle is saying be ready for this when it happens because things are changing very, very rapidly. So a Veblen good is you could call it a luxury good. It's valuable because it's expensive and it's a sign of prestige and wealth. And, you wouldn't pay, you don't want to pay less for an LV bag. You want to pay more and signal the wealth. And this is like applicable to anything like luxury cars and phones to a lesser extent, and fashion. So a Veblen effect is just taking that and extrapolating that concept and applying it to Bitcoin, whereby there is like a threshold at which Bitcoin crosses this, and now it is like the new gold. And I think we're already seeing an inkling of that with the executive order to create the SBR. I need exposure to this. I'm willing to dump my gold and buy some of this. And maybe gold is the only valuable thing a lot of people have left after, the dollar starts to hyperinflate or devalue even more. Because you have to imagine at that threshold, like, what does the world look like when Bitcoin is $500,000? It's a very different world than today, right? It's not 80, 90, 100, 108. It's a very radically different world. And I think people miss that mindset that things change as Bitcoin goes up in big chunks. Like 200, it's a very different world. From 200, 500, you just have to, double plus a little bit, right? And then from 500 to a million, it's just a double. So these things become more likely the higher we go because it's not like we're 10xing, we're just doubling from 500 at that Veblen threshold. So we've been working on this for a number of years post El Salvador, and it's always been a challenging conversation.
The US is embracing Bitcoin's potential as Europe struggles with debt and inflation. With Bitcoin's value poised to hit $500,000, it's reshaping the financial landscape. Corporations, politicians, and nations are stepping in, marking the end of gold's dominance and the decline of fiat currencies. The Omega candle, a sudden $100,000 surge, could arrive any day, redefining global finance. Bitcoin's supply is vanishing as exchanges drain and corporations hoard, intensifying scarcity. At $500,000, it stabilizes as more than digital gold. It becomes the bedrock of a new financial era. The race for the last Bitcoin has begun. Will you be ready?
You are seeing the coins on exchange decline, right? And I think it'll just accelerate now with more corporate buys. And if there are nation state buys, like with Cynthia Lummis's bill, then that's just going to accelerate. And I don't think everyone fully understands the 21 million limit, right? Because we've grown up, well, when I say we, I mean everybody, we've grown up in a very fiat world where there's always wiggle room, right? With a fiat economy, you can always fix your mistake. Okay, we like in Canada, maybe we spent too much on vaccines. Now we, print some more money. And printing doesn't necessarily mean money on a printing press. There are so many ways to print money, right? Issuing debt or monetizing debt. But, you know, you can fix your mistake, right? We messed up. Well, we'll fix it. But with Bitcoin, there is no recourse. Just like you can't roll back the Bitcoin chain if there's a theft, right? You just can't print more. And that reality has not yet hit the general populace that, okay, there is only 21. And that number is dropping rapidly. Um, they don't know. Like, there's just never been anything like this before. Like, maybe gold, but still, like 2% inflation a year. And it can increase if there is demand. So it's like a different beast still compared to Bitcoin. And it takes a lot of going down the rabbit hole to really understand that ultimate scarcity, that it's just like hitting a wall. No one will help you get more Bitcoin because you can't. If you break down the Bitcoin pie, like maybe like 3, 4 million coins might be lost, right? Maybe five on the higher end of the boundary, but a lot of coins were lost. You can't look at Bitcoin at the lens that you're looking at it today and understand that, people 10, 15 years ago understood it the same way. A lot of people just didn't care, or yeah, they just lost it and threw away the hard drive. And there's a lot of that. And that brings us down to, maybe 15, 16 million coins available. And Michael Saylor alone has taken off all the coins to be mined this year, maybe twice, maybe more. And then you factor in any other significant buyer, and you get a multiple of that. So it's likely that Bitcoin is already deflationary, right? Everything that's mined is not adding to the supply. So there is really little Bitcoin left. And I think all these dips, all the fear right now, it, yeah, if you think of things adversarially, then someone trying to accumulate a lot of Bitcoin would do well to make you think that, yeah, we're going to drop to 70 and, we're going to have a bear market so that you sell your coins to them because there's so little left. And, the price dips seem to convince maybe Bitcoiners with less conviction that, yeah, there's lots of Bitcoin too, because, we like whenever I post something like there's only 21 million, then there's always some guy retorting like, well, then why is the price going down? It's the price can go down because there's 2 million coins on exchanges that can be used to move the price up and down, and it's trading. So short term does not indicate what happens in the long term, and we know what the long term result is, that there is not enough Bitcoin for anybody. The US dollar will be the last fiat currency to crumble, and I definitely think fiat won't last more than 5 years. It's just the Bitcoin is such a far superior alternative that once you cross that Veblen threshold and you're in the, half million range to 1 million a coin, I think you see a large drop in volatility. And with that large drop in volatility comes the opportunity to use Bitcoin as that currency, right? Like the reason why I think you still need stablecoins and you still need dollar value in emerging markets is because a lot of these people can't weather that volatility, right? You're in Latin America now. You kind of know like a lot of people are just getting by day to day. They can't risk that 30%. Not they can't even risk a 10% drop, right? So they need something that is stable. And stablecoins, although are not stable because they're pegged to fiat, which is dying, they are stable because debt is still denominated in dollars or derivatives of dollars. So it's still like the thing that is needed. But that will change when Bitcoin becomes this new gold, that it is 500,000, 700,000 a coin or a million a coin. And at that point, people stop wanting the fiat. And from then it just snowballs because these changes from one money to another, they're really not gradual. Either it's voluntary in terms of the government saying, here's the new one with three zeros lopped off, or it's just complete capitulation and people don't recognize it anymore and they're just using something else as money. So it is very fast change. And I think like no one's seen something as big as the dollar collapse in their lifetime, right? Like you've seen other fiat currencies collapse.
Bitcoin is making waves as its price nears $100,000, with the US embracing a pro-crypto stance through eased restrictions and supportive legislation. Leaders like David Saxes highlight Bitcoin's potential as a cornerstone of innovation, while Samson Mow predicts it will surpass gold as the ultimate store of value, driven by its scarcity and resistance to manipulation. With millions of coins already lost and institutions rushing to secure the remaining supply, the financial landscape is transforming rapidly. The race to adopt Bitcoin is on, leaving one question: will you embrace the shift or be left behind? Will Bitcoin surpass gold as the leading store of value? How prepared are you for Bitcoin's role in reshaping finance? Share your thoughts below. For more Daily Dose Crypto news, check out these two awesome videos on your screen. Click now and we will see you on the next video.